How's it going, everybody? This is Brett here, and I want to discuss the Zodiac case in regards to the hunt for DNA. So there's a lot of contradictions going out there, and I could say that I reached out to Tom Voigt to get some information on his DNA card spreadsheet that I believe Sydney Holt did. Tom replied, he says, there was no DNA found or no partial. Ironically, the show Dateline here sort of contradicts that, but I also know from someone else who claims, and I would say has seen the actual evidence they have on the Zodiac case, who has also said exactly the same thing, but I'm not buying it. I am not buying it, and as I said, I've got something to show something else does exist. So here we're just going to have a few clips. I'm going to have to stop and start. Don't want to get copyright, but here's the from Dateline years ago.
With the remaining envelopes Zodiac mailed, more than half disappeared over the decades. First, she removes the stamps and flaps.
I would then try to recover DNA from the cells that may have been deposited on the letter when someone had licked it.
She uses a centrifuge to separate the cells from the sticky adhesive.
The science is so sound and reproducible that if the material is on the envelope, we will detect it.
She uses the newest DNA detection technique called polymerase chain reaction, PCR for short. To produce a genetic profile, it needs just 50 human cells.
We can start with a very
So let me just stop there. So again, 50 human cells that is needed for a successful PCR. And as this sort of alludes to, the first few envelopes she tested had nothing. So now again we're going to the spreadsheet that I do believe she constructed. And as we can see here, first off, I do, like my ex-wife, she, like in her field, she was called an environmental scientist, whatever, but she was big on these spreadsheets. And so here we've got a list of all these letters, including the Riverside letters. They got nothing to do with any. And if you see here, it says score, if any, and they're all left blank. They are left blank. And so if you go down to here, score, you see 10 and 12. And I do believe that that is the amount of cells. Like, I'm guessing this. I also know from past, like I've read interview from a credible site with one of the past detectives who said they only got a DNA sample from the Exorcist letter. And ironically, that sort of reflects this spreadsheet here. So, like the biggest one here, the Exorcist, 37, and that was the one I heard they got the DNA from, and also a partial. So, so it's sort of contradictory how they say, there was never a partial. Well, there could have been. It may not be a partial that could stand up in court. But also this show clearly states these tests were done. And I'm not imagining it. This person whom does know, like, inside information, you could say, says, oh, it's only a show. Like, we're talking about Dateline, and to totally disregard anything on the show. But that does not make any sense, because in regards to testing these letters. So we're going to skip along to do with the copyright. Again, I don't often put other clips on, I'm not sure. So here we go, we just play from the old. I'm just going in the dark here.
Look.
The hair didn't have any recognizable root structure that would have the kind of DNA that we analyze in the crime lab.
But disappointment is followed quickly by a possible breakthrough. Remember that taunting greeting card? Dr. Holt gets a tentative result from the outside of the envelope that contained it.
I can tell you that there is an indication that there may be DNA from one of the stamps.
You could well be on the trail of the Zodiac.
Well, the prospect.
And so here we go. We have just established saying outside of the stamp. Okay, we just established that bit. So again, as I said in the day, that you know, the people would like have these stamp sets and like literally handle them, rip them up, to get the stamp out like this and grab, and they have these big stamp books, and it's not hard to say if a person sneezing, shedding hair or skin cells over time, cells can be deposited on things. And I also say in regards to Amanda Knox's case, to do that. So that card is the dripping pen card and not the exorcist letter.
The fact of being able to contribute to the story is exciting.
Then, out of the blue, more good news for Dr. Holt. Our primetime investigation of the case leads to a major discovery. 3 more Zodiac envelopes in mint condition. They quietly arrive at the lab after our inquiries with a retired police source. He had kept them in his personal files.
Now you have a lot more to work with. It's got to be exciting.
Well, the potential is exciting.
Yeah, so well, once again, in regards to all of this, that like this person who has seen what, I'm not sure, because there are 2 different police districts, Vallejo PD and SFPD, in regards to this, but I'm more than sure because of SFPD has got the bigger budget and that they got the genetic stuff. I'm not sure. Vallejo also could have done that, which also appears they sent 3 envelopes away later on. So we'll just go back to here as I'm showing here. We got these envelopes here. But yes, I did read that this ex-detective stated it was the exorcist letter that they got DNA from. But here, these are the ones 31st of July 1969. This is so this is from the Vallejo Police Department. This guy here sent them off to get tested, and there's no thing that they even got anything there. And this was like 5 years after the Dateline show. And as I like to point out here, that these dates of those 3 letters are missing on this spreadsheet that we just saw. The 69, the 3 letters, the 3 ones sent, and they're missing on the score. So that gives credibility to this spreadsheet. And then it comes down to the most logical thing. The logical thing is that since they believed, like, Dateline did not fully go into the exorcist letter, but regardless, that it makes common sense, or sense, because a person once said to me there's no such thing as common sense, that it says here, SF Chronicle, handwritten note, that city Petoskey, it says DNA sample obtained, not authentic. So why was that written? Number one, this is what I contacted Tom Voigt over, because I have been trying to establish this truth. Like, I wrote to Sydney Holt, I sent her mail, I sent her a text and email just asking about this information, and no reply. And here it says DNA sample obtained. So it shows that this spreadsheet, and that's all it is, reflects the Sydney Holt tests. Like here we've got handwritten note, if you whatever. I like to know which one had the things on the outside, but the exorcist letter, like that. Let me see, we can read the buttons. I will talk to my slaves, Halloween Paradise, the blue meanies, peeking through the pines, exorcist. So we'll go back to, like, it's a dripping pen card. So we'll have a look here. So we've got woman and the baby, that one, buttons, sorry to hear, the blast. My name is, dear Melbourne, help me. Yeah, the dripping pen, here we go. So I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, but as I said, once again, DNA from the outside of the stamp, the outside. So anybody could have contributed that. contamination, and how big was it? And again, we'll go on the show. We'll see what we got here.
Potential is higher now that we have 3 more envelopes, several more stamps.
Exciting because Homicide Inspector Kelly Carroll and his partner Mike Maloney can then compare it with DNA samples from anyone suggested as a possible suspect. Stay with us. Inside, records on scores, if not hundreds of possible suspects, but not enough evidence to make an arrest. Zodiac has fooled investigators for 33 years now, and yet
We still get calls almost daily from people who believe they know who the Zodiac is.
websites and discussion groups about
The killer.
this is the strange number of them. Before naming or the search area, a journalism student and a sample of his own DNA for verification. Now he waits in dread while Dr. Sidney Holt at the San Francisco Police Lab tries to isolate Zodiac's DNA.
So I need to know if Charles Clifton Collins, my father, the guy who held me when I was a baby, I need to know if he was a serial killer. I have to know. I have to know. I just...
So, once again, establishing...
The moment of truth. 3 decades in the making. The DNA tests come back from the lab.
You get an adrenaline rush knowing that part of this puzzle has been revealed to you.
Yeah, and once again, that, like, so they claim there was no partial, and once again, there could have been, even if it's not the right one. As I said, even the exorcist letter itself could still be contaminated. Like, it's only like a speck. I learned that like 50 cells is like the size of a speck of dust, and they convicted Amanda Knox over that. But due to, you could say, a speck of dust of cells on the gloves of the investigators picking up the other victim's brass strap and saying, oh, look, Amanda Knox's DNA's on it, so you can't go there.
Breakthrough in the hunt for the Zodiac.
Once again, in regards to what's the story, you know, again, swabbing outside of the stamp or whatever, that's what we heard, outside, not underneath. Outside, it could be the postman, could be the person ripping the, you know, the stamp itself. You just can't go there. But
We'll finally know whether he left a telltale clue behind. Will the Zodiac killer finally be revealed?
This is the San Francisco Police Department's DNA lab 6 days ago, exactly 33 years to the day after Zodiac murdered taxi driver Paul Stein. Dr. Sidney Holt is about to answer the question, did the Zodiac killer leave a genetic trail that could lead to his capture? The answer is yes.
I found a partial DNA fingerprint from a male individual who at some time has had contact with the stamp.
You're looking at the Zodiac killer's genetic identity. The peaks on this graph.
It excites the senses.
Homicide Inspector Kelly Carroll.
and so we established that a genetic profile was found. Again, it doesn't mean it's the Zodiac's. So once again, did she find one? Did she, and it makes logical sense if she made all these tests, that is included, again, the Toschi letter. DNA sample obtained, not authentic, but it could have been authentic if the only one they had. And who knows if they got the Exorcist letter one. Like, I just believe I read that once, and I do believe it because they said you need 50 cells for a successful PCR. I do believe this is indicating 37, and then we got that other letter, whatever, so we don't know. And so, once again, the Toschi letter, we'll have a quick look at this. Again, the Toschi letter is not a standalone letter. As I said, there was a series of stamps. I used to believe they were in a stamp set, but they were in a stamp theme. And it's odd that these three known ones claiming to be Zodiac all came from this stamp set here. You know, so we got this, so, you know, the whole lot. And then, as I said, we've got the Toschi letter. You know, this is Toschi, but look how similar it is to the, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter. So here we got in the Channel 9 letter, ex-Chief Picky, ex-Davis. So we get another police person named. This one names Tosky. On top of that, as I said, both of these letters constructed wise in the same way, but also has a similar sentence. It says, I'm waiting for a good movie about me. Who will play me? And the other one says, remember, whoever plays me has his work cut out for me. So imagine two letters 8 days apart, the same series of stamps, claiming to be Zodiac, have been sent in. It'd be different if the Tosca letter was standalone. And so, and as I like to say, I believe the most hated suspect of all is the person, and that's what I have been pushing. Once again, as I said here, the 340 gets solved, and look whose name appears. And in this section here, that's ZO and that's JR, like in the other letters. So we've got Earl Van Best Jr. and with the solved letters of the 340 cipher. So we'll go back here, and once again the fact is this, if you want to like it or not, that's Best there, Van Best Jr. ZO appears in the 408 cipher. Okay, I stuck. So this is the site here with the Earl Van Best Jr. So you can always see EV Jr. ZO. Imagine that is appearing as is. You're not altering anything. I stuck 408 keys in the cipher, and look who we got. Van Earl comes out like that. So you're using 408 keys in the 340, and Earl Van Best name appears. Ironically, again down here it appears again. That spells Earl, and then you got BTS if you want to establish that. We've got a ZO here, and this is the keeping the B, but then you got add the 408 keys again, and you're getting like Best backwards and Van without that. So do you believe this is by chance? Like, why can't people open their little minds and say, oh, like, this cannot be by chance? And David Orchank will go, oh yes, it's by chance, but who cares? It's not logical. It's like this one guy's name keeps appearing with ZO. Come on. So once again here, that as I said here, that the word best, VE, was only used once to spell best in the whole cipher, that combination for BE, and Zodiac ends the letter, the 408 with a E, the E symbol, VE. As I said, the R is the reverse R in the cipher, and a J is represented by the X there, ironically, even though you could go junior like that as well, but that is what he did. As I said, and these shapes look like the bottom of the Exorcist letter, like how, like yours truly, and it's got these shapes, and look how similar they look compared to what I'm showing, how Earl's name does appear. Here, as I said, somebody said, oh, you could do this with anybody's name. So in the 408 keys, as I said, if you get, like, you spell best like this, and that appears L-E-A-R, like in the how I showed you in the 340 cipher. If you spell Earl, E-A-R-L, you see B-E-S-T appear like that, and the V and the N, like the N equals the V. So you could argue this is spelling Van as well. So using 5 keys, L Van Best, somebody said, oh, you could do that with anyone's name. Well, you do it and show me the examples, because I have actually tried and I have not been able to do that. You can anagram a person, I'm sure eventually somehow, but this was just bang, look at that. And so, as I like to say, we'll go here. As I said, once again, we'll do this one first. So we got the, like, so this was in the 340 cipher. We had the Best Wishes writer, and he gave reverse Q 4 symbols, FKLM. I believe that means 14 kids, love and marriage. So we keep the A, that becomes the 408A, that's the R, and now we can use that as the L, and the F equals B and the Y because he made this pattern in the 340 for by Earl. So I claim that was by Earl, and then the 340 gets solved, and then we learn that RA, so Z in the 408 equals E, and now Z in the other one equals R, but ZO is RA in the 340 cipher, and it's the word fun. So I got ZO, RA, this is in the other cipher, and the word fun, and these letters spell best, B-E-S-T, and I claim that was Earl. See, I'm telling you now. And ironically, slaver and fan, RA, were errors. Instead of spelling fun or slaves, you put R and A, which was ZO, used for ZO in those key areas. So, and so what else do I have here? Once again, again with the boy section with these patterns, again in the 340 you got BTST with boy, and then you got this also spelling Earl Best in the boy section. And why is that significant? Because in the 340, or no, the 408, that we got by the boy here in the other cipher, like looking at the exact symbols as you my name in the 340, as it gets a bit confusing. Someone else discovered this, but I gave it a definition that instead of the square you got the B that keeps the Y. That's a Y symbol there, so I got boy backwards there, B-O-Y, and B-Y. Ironically, gets a bit tongue twisty. And what else do we have here? As I said, Judy. Here's the bottom line is this. This is in the 340 cipher, that where the Van Earl side is, ZO. Again, all I did was flip the C and the L. So this one here, L and the C, I flipped them around. I added 408 keys, so the H, the A, the N, D, E, R, and you spell Chandler over Earl's name in the 340 cipher with the ZO, his wife's name. That appears, and once again, we got like how, like the Earl Best appears in the 408 is this one here, if you can see this, and then how it appears also reappears in the 340 the same way, but like BT in the that thing there, and there's only 3 of these in the entire 340, 3 of these. And then ironically it comes with to die by best in this section. So if you look, he's using symbols, but that's die backwards, to die by best here. See? So I do believe that this is how you solve the Zodiac case, is to do with this Tosca letter. And as I said, I should have a you know, what have I got in this one here? Yeah, and as I said, just basically this, that once again, Earl Van Best, we've got the V's here, the V shape in the pattern. Imagine another coincidence pointing straight to Earl. After, like you, my name in the 340 cipher is the word because, but if you flip the Z, it becomes an N, you got E Van. Right there after, I will not give you my name, but he truly does. So what are the odds of that? You tell me. So how could all of these things be by chance? And so then, again, we've got the best wishes writer. Once again, I'll show you this. The back of the Melvin Belli letter, I said, is that a L inside that A? And I believe it is like Earl. And I believe even that there, that W is disordered, like that's a V and an N. Van Earl is written there. Exactly. Once again, we have got the Paul Avery letters, putting L's here and here, spelling Earl without the A in plain sight, spelling his name. Or like the Donna Lass card here. Oh, this is the best wishes one, because the guy sent the key in and he put FK FKLM with reverse Q. And when the 340 arrived, one reverse Q had FK symbol L and the other one had the M. There was only two. So this tells me this is Zodiac. And once again, there's a missing E above the word best, and put I do not wish to have my name in the papers, which is a clue because E best has had his name in the papers, just like here. Look at that. This guy here. And it makes sense, killing the lovers as he's jilted himself. Once again, the Donna Lass letter, it says like best wishes, and the first thing the writer writes is best wishes, which is identical to this best wishes. So some guy was writing best wishes way beforehand. And then, as I said, we go in the handwriting. What is compelling to me is that like this is Van Earl Best, legit. He wrote Francisco 3 times, so these are not the same one, but he put gaps in this cursive writing. Gaps, Francisco, Francisco. The Donna Lass letter has got these words gapped as well. The Best Wishes writer gapped these words. The FBI Zodiac letter, and there's more on this on the letter, but he wrote evidence with a gap, California with the gap, and believe, but there are others. As I like to say, we really have got limited, but here's Earl Van Best's D's compared to the Zodiacs, for example. Earl wrote, we've got two different ones, but really long elongated D, right? There's only two different D's, the whole lot. I just copied, paste, excuse me, but look at this. So this is a Zodiac D, and look at this D, look at that. And then, we got these little D's here. So what do you reckon? Like still elongated, whatever you've got that word. But yeah, but like L's got a really long D there, and that's got a long D there. You could argue here. So that's why I just got the D's to verify. So we can have a look, see how we got these D's. Look at that. And Earl did similar, two different sorts of D's, and I do believe they're quite similar. Very long and like that. And once again, that with this handwriting, Earl Van Best's signature, and there's another example of it, but after the capital B, the E is floating off the air. So this is the Donna Lass letter one. The E is floating, so it's gone up. Same with the Best Wishes. Both of the T's have been finished the same way, and you could argue the lines of that are similar. And also I believe he's distorting this as well for whatever. So once again, I'm just showing like sharp angles and writing. So this is all Van Best writing. Donna Lass card, like these sharp angles, bang. I also was trying to overlay these H's, and I realized there were pressure points that Donna Lass carved that in these two locations. There's like a pressure on the pen, and also to do with the other one up the top there of Earl Van Best there, and that one there. I believe that is similar. And once again, a writing habit of like Zodiac, Earl wrote Judith, and he put this, besides sharp angle, but an extension. And Zodiac here in the Hoover letter did exactly that. And also was like looking at similarities, trying to find something. Like I do believe he's trying to disguise his handwriting, but I do believe there's enough compelling evidence. Here's another fantastic one that I got. I got the word killer and Judith. I printed them out and I overlaid them with a lamp, and I just moved them about a bit and took photos. But just to show, like here, that I was showing how similar these are. And like this is a direct overlay, and you'd be surprised even spelling two different words, let alone whatever, killer and Judith. So you can see how different, but they're very bang. Look at this, down, up, bang, down, up, bang, bang, bang. So I believe they're quite similar in the construction of that writing. So, and as I said again, these V's in my opinion, are very similar. Like Earl Van's V here is going upwards, and same with this one in the Hoover letter. And the Hoover letter like swinging down left like this. You can see what I'm trying to show you here. Hoover letter V and Earl Van's V comes like that. So I believe that's pretty significant. Establishing gaps in writing, that Zodiac put gaps in printed words like this. So we established that Earl has done this. The Hoover letter, Donna Lascard, and the Zodiac Killer himself. And what is very significant with the best wishes key is that the flat-sided of 0, so for starters, that Judy Chandler's birthday is 8th of October, 10/8, so however Americans do their thing, but we've got 801, so they're even though that is a bit different, but instead of 10 and an 8 to represent her birthday, but we've got these flat-sided zeros. So Earl flat side 0, Earl flat side 0, look at this, Donna Lascard flat side 0, flat side 0. And you tell me the Channel 9 card as well, if you see a more of a flat 0 there, and the best wishes writer here. So you tell me that I do believe Earl Van Bass is the Zodiac, and people want to debunk it. Again, the show with trying to debunk Gary wasn't also 100% truthful in regards to this. So yeah, I should just wrap it up. I had something else on my mind to show somewhere. I think it is to do with Judy here. Yeah, this was the last one I was going to quickly show you. As I said, it comes in 10/8. Ironically, Judy Chandler, born 10th of the 8th, so you go down 10 and in 8 and you get to this L-shaped Judy. And again, if you switch that around, that's a T. Switch that, that's an N. 4 or 8 keys, you've got 14 Judy, and that's that to die by best thing. So by chance, it comes down on her birthday. And ironically, in the you've got to look at it yourself, the boys section in the 340. Yeah, we can just go here. And this is what I'm showing. So this is the 340 versus 408. So here we've got an L-shaped Judy here with the word boy, but there's a Z there. But if you switch it around, it can be an N for 14 or Z for Zodiac or both. And I noticed that with the boy. And ironically, that the boy unlocks this in a 340. So see this here. There is a difference because the Y is the other way around, but I still believe that is still pretty similar. So I've got the word boy here, and as I am demonstrating, here is these patterns here in the 340, and that's a reverse F. So that becomes like B, and that becomes Y, so that is B and Y. We got that there. Also B by, so this spells sun using 408 keys in the 340 cipher, and then adding that, if you remember just before in the 408 cipher, incorporate that pattern here and you get boy with Gary. So I'm just showing what's appearing. I don't know, you tell me. And that's what I'm saying, this spells by sun, and like this is 4080 with a dot, and there's another one here that's BYD. The D, reverse D is an O as well, so we've got by the boy. That's a tongue twister. So by sun, and then we've got this pattern. So I better end it here. So that's my challenge. I thank you for watching, and that's where I'm at. I don't care who the Zodiac is. As I said, I do have possession of Earl's DNA profile. I'm hunting this Tosky letter that I asked Tom Voigt that, and I had no reason to doubt him, but just to verify that he got that card from the SFPD or Vallejo PD. He does not remember. It's either one, but it's legit, and it's stated Tosky DNA profile obtained. I've shown that how it could be true, and I want to know, did Earl Van Best write the Toschi letter? How hard is it? It doesn't matter. Like, people say they want evidence, right? People say they want evidence. Well, here we go. Doesn't matter. I have illustrated a guy's name with Z-O. Gary Stewart was the first to see that. People want to trash him. But I'm going to go on one more now because, and once again, Earl Van Best Jr. Again, married a 14-year-old. We got a love heart in the skeleton's eye. I love 14. I love 14. Also on top of that, 14 reference. The 14th letter is reversed. That's why I'm saying tilting these things. Also, this F here looks a bit highlighted. If you see that, he's trying to also highlight the F. But the 14th letter is N and is turned around. Ironically, that Zodiac talked about the Badlands like in his thing, and if you know about the storyline, I'll have to show you in a second. We'll have a quick look at this.
He was 25 years old. He combed his hair like James Dean. He was very fastidious. People who littered bothered him. She was 15. She took music lessons and could twirl a baton.
I'm Kia. I'm not keeping you from anything important, am I?
No.
She wasn't very popular at school. For a while, they lived together in a treehouse. In 1959, they murdered a lot of people.
So, Zodiac quotes Badlands, okay? So we're going to go to here. People say, oh, is quoting the movie ad, whatever, but ironically, that with the 1959, that where it is quoted, there's a stroke that's been added. Why add the stroke? Does the stroke represent what I am presenting here in regards to here? You tell me. And Zodiac giving a hint, like who will play me in the movie, in the Toschi, that in fact that somebody has played him, and given another clue. Like, as I said, it's just everything points to Earl Van Best Jr. being the Zodiac. Everybody hates him, but you are just discounting everything that clearly points to him alone. And that's where, the more I looked, everything reflected Earl Van Best Jr. People say they want evidence. Well, that's where I'm at. As I said, I want to know about this Toschi letter. No one can give a straight answer. There's, as I said, an official spreadsheet that Tom Voigt got them from the police department, said DNA sample obtained and not authentic. And it makes sense that it was tested because the others were tested. So I'll conclude here, and if anyone can believe in this and get onto it, well, let's try. Have a good day.